made a very long video detailing this, and I might as well just put myself as one picture of an Inkling in Gmod, just so I don't have to make myself take a million screenshots for no reason. But I might as well explain why the EU Splatfests seem to work so well, since everyone on the internet seems to have joined some kind of hate bandwagon onto the fact that the EU Splatfests are totally dumb. And the only one I can agree with everyone on is the North-South Pole Fest, because that one I can legitimately agree was a completely stupid theme, alright? Not messy vs tidy, eating vs sleeping, etc, etc. Right. Might as well start with the American one, since everyone seems to think those are better, but there are reasons as to why those work for that culture and not necessarily for the European people that live in 20 countries and have to deal with so many different cultures at once. Yeah, that's kind of a thing in of itself. So, what of the American Splatfests that so-called might have worked here, if you so call? I'm going to provide some thoughts of my own, so I'm not sure what Europe is like exactly. I only know Australia, right? Alright, okay, let's go. Cats and dogs. That might have worked here. I'm actually thinking that is the only one that may have worked here properly, because cats and dogs. Well, cats and dogs are like anyone can argue over cats and dogs, no matter what country you're from, unless there's some kind of thing against either animal. But lots of people in Europe could argue over cats and dogs. But we got Rock vs Pop instead, which isn't that bad. And I will admit that wasn't that bad. America's second one, which is actually a little more problematic. Roller coasters and water slides. Problem, people. You don't realize this as much. Apparently, as from what I've heard in America, numerous times, as well as from my own family for visits or something, they happen to have a lot of amusements there. That's not to say none exist here. I'm definitely aware that water slides and roller coasters and amusement parks generally exist here as well, but we got them, at least Australia here, from America. And generally, since it's from there, and they would have much more experience in such things compared to the expenses down here, and probably in Europe too, have, then it's more wise for them to choose roller coasters and water slides, as they would have experience with it. But down here, we can have those experiences, but not as often, and especially since it came from there in the first place. So eating versus sleeping is something everybody can argue over. And why those two are together? Which is your preferred idea of heaven, as the Splatfest announcement implied? So, yeah. The third Splatfest for both of us. Marshmallows vs hot dogs and the North and South Pole. I get it, the North and South Pole sucked. Alright, I know, that was totally sucky, awful, absolutely awful. But you could also take it as polar bears vs penguins, and also Europe vs Australia, since that's also North vs South. Alright, that's good enough, right? Anyway. The American Splatfest was marshmallows vs hot dogs. And those aren't really conflicting things at all. America is known stereotypically for its hot dogs. And since the theme was roasting them on a campfire, not many people are gonna think that they're, like, you know, important. Like, nobody here would even know what roasting a hot dog on a campfire would even look like. We know what they are, but we just don't know what roasting them on a campfire would be like. which is apparently something that happens over there. So, what can I say? So, and everyone knows of marshmallows, and since that one, it's pretty obvious. But everyone would have basically chosen marshmallow since it doesn't really apply here. People camp, sure, but do they really know hot dog fire grilling? People only do that on like barbecues or something like that. Maybe ovens or something like that. I don't know. But we don't do it over a campfire. That's not... I never even heard of that until that Splatfest was announced. I knew what hot dogs were, but I didn't know you could do that with them at all. And since America's closer to that kind of thing, again, they would understand it. The fourth Splatfest, Transformers and Dancing for Singing. Dancing for Singing was 10 times better than North and South Pole, right? So shut up. Right, now for the Transformers, why it wouldn't work. Again, it falls under the same category as the roller coasters and water slides. We got it from you. It's a thing called globalization, where things just spread across the globe from generally one location in the beginning. What was that location? America, right? Everyone here, I'm pretty sure there are some huge Transformers fans here, maybe in Europe, but I'm not sure that everyone in Europe would be able to participate in it, since I'm not sure if it's in the other countries that have different languages. I'm not sure if Transformers was a thing as much as America, but I do know for certain that it was definitely brought over from here, from America. So, since it's from there, people would have more experience with it compared to down here. I guess not having a licensed Splatfest is kind of sad, but they've got to find something all of Europe can do, not only the UK and Australia or something. It doesn't work that way. As for dancing and singing, that's something everyone can do. Everyone can dance, everyone can sing, even if terribly or very good. I'm sure anybody can pick a side on either of them. And as such, everyone can take a vote. It doesn't matter if America's seems to be so much better than yours. Like, really. As for the last one, which is Messy vs. Tidy and Art vs. Science. Art vs. Science seems very arbitrary to pair together as a Splatfest theme. Even some Americans agreed that it was the worst theme that they've had at all in a Splatfest so far. And like, I'm pretty sure it was only done because people in America are going back to school. And problem, as of right now, which is literally only a few days after that said Splatfest, at least in Australia, it is holidays right now. Having to argue over school subjects would not make any sense. I'm not sure what the status is over in Europe, but, like, again, we're including all of Europe. If we were to suddenly do school subjects right when, you know, people down here, which are also part of the Europe region, have pretty much had school holidays, it doesn't make any sense to go with school subjects to argue over. Especially with arbitrary ones like art and science. Nobody finds any correlation between those things. At all. Unless you look really deeply. So messy vs. tidy rooms, no matter what age you are, you can argue over that. And messy or tidy doesn't necessarily mean dirty or clean. I mean, I'm pretty sure those kinda tie in, but I have a messy room that's not very dirty, if you can understand. I mean, if you want to call dirt dust, then I guess fine, but there's not really much else that you can call dirt in my room. It's just messy. It just happens to have a lot of stuff strewn everywhere. So, and like, that's something that everyone can participate in. Doesn't matter if America's seems to be so much better to you, because you might have gotten influenced in American culture so much because you've lived on the internet for quite a while. You might know this stuff, but not everyone who goes on the internet has that kind of ability, alright? Not everyone in Europe is exactly the same, has the same customs, same life. While we may have gone to America's little things and understood them well, some people in Europe might not have. They might have gone onto YouTube and watched their favorite whatever the hell YouTubers they are that speak their language, but I don't think they're aware of these kinds of things too. If they are, well, kudos to them, but I don't think it speaks for everybody, right? Anyway, that's why the NA Splatfests wouldn't work. And as for the Japan ones, those ones are really specific to their culture, so we wouldn't understand them one bit. So, please, quit joining the hate bandwagon for no reason and actually think as to why North America's wouldn't work here. I'm speaking from the experience of Australian people, and that's part of the Europe region, so that's why it wouldn't work here. Think about it, please. See y'all, have a good day, peace.